Yo, good morning, guys. It's your boy, Atypical Security Guard. I want to welcome you to this morning's stream. If you haven't done so, please like, share, and subscribe. Today, we're going to be talking about the developing case coming out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the case of Devontae Mitchell. I've done two streams, two podcasts about this situation so far. For those of you who are unaware, Devontae Mitchell, a gentleman that went into a Hyatt Regency hotel. I believe this happened late last month, if I'm not mistaken. Apparently goes into a Hyatt Regency hotel, potentially or allegedly suffering from some sort of mental illness episode, some sort of situation. There are reports that he had some sort of outburst. At any rate, it leads to him having an interaction with security. At some point in time, there's a hands-on event. It is said that Devontae Mitchell then goes into a women's restroom. When he goes into the women's restroom, allegedly, a group of security guards that work for the Hyatt Regency go hands-on with this gentleman, have some sort of physical altercation to where they are able to either subdue this person or get this person on the ground. It is said that they then allegedly drag him out to the front of the hotel. So if you're aware, when you go to a hotel, they have the awning that you drive under where you can park your car, go inside, do your quick check-in. The camera footage picks up with him being outside, kind of in a 4-point hold where someone has his arms, someone has his legs, someone is on his upper back, someone is on his lower area. There seems to be a person that is collapsing a baton, but there's multiple reports that this person was striking Mr. Mitchell in the head. The most egregious aspect of the situation is that when the security guard, the main security guard, we'll call him, sees that someone is filming, he looks directly into the camera and gives the statement, this is what happens when you go into a female bathroom. This is what happens when you go into a female bathroom. Devontae Mitchell ultimately ends up dying. When police arrive, I guess he's unresponsive. They take him to the hospital. After life-saving measures, he dies at the hospital. So that's the backstory for anybody who's unaware. The security team ends up being 4 individuals. Now, all 4 people that were involved were not security guards. The initial report was that 4 of the people involved were all security guards. Last night, I saw a video where one of the people, one of the 4 that were involved, did a news interview, and it turns out that this person was not a security guard, he was a bellhop. So the bellhop, you know, you don't really see this a lot in hotels anymore. You know, I'm getting older. I can remember going to hotels and you had, you know, what's called a bellboy or a bellhop, and what they would do is basically like carry your bags up to your rooms, carry your bags from your room to your car, you know, kind of like a little assistant to help you get to and from. So apparently this person who has only been working for the hotel for the past 3 months was a bellhop. He says what happened is that either 2 or 3 of the security guards at some point in time tell him that they need his help. They give him the directive to hold the person down. And he says that for fear of losing his job, he complied. That he felt that he did not have the ability to say no, that he didn't have the ability to not get involved, that he was being directed by security. Now, there's a couple of different threads in this situation that I think are really important for private security guards who follow this channel for instruction, for education, to be aware of. Number one, every single person, every rung in the ladder of this horrible, tragic situation, they are all throwing the private security guards under the bus. Some would say that that's justified. I'm not here to say yay or nay. I'm pointing it out. The hotel immediately fires all the security staff and comes out and says in a news article that not only have they terminated the security guards, but that they are calling for transparency, justice, and get this, the hotel, are calling for charges to be brought against the security guards. Now you have a bellhop who was one of the 4 people involved, who is now on the news, and he's copping pleas and saying, it wasn't my fault. I was told by who? By security. You've got the people who are involved, which would be the family of Devontae Mitchell, who clearly are all saying this is security's fault. You've got Benjamin Crump, world-renowned, lawyer for every racial situation that happens in this country, who is now outside the Hyatt Regency, pointing out the fact that this is a private security issue, and that just like the police, private security are unhinged, out of control. Something has to be done. I want to focus on the bellhop's situation first. This was so interesting that I saw this because, I did a stream the other day where I was talking about how if you work in retail, if you work in pretty much in any capacity working as a security guard, a lot of our job, the vast majority of our job, it's contractual. So, we all have our legal constraints and restraints of what we can and what we can't do. But 90% of what we do in private security, it comes down to the contract, or what we call the post orders, right? There are things that are written out that for your position at the location where you're at, even though you have the legal authority, the legal ability to do a lot of different things, contractually by the post orders, certain things are excluded. It could be going hands-on, right? However, the people that work in those locations, your downline staff, they're generally not aware of this, and they're not supposed to be. Completely different stream, completely different podcast. We'll talk about that further in detail down the road, but your frontline staff is not supposed to know what your job is, what the ins and outs of your job is, to what extent you can get involved. The problem with that is that oftentimes frontline, downline staff have this misconception, especially if you're wearing a kit, if you're wearing uniform, if you're armed. A lot of times they look at security guards and they're like, hey, these guys are just like personalized cops. So whatever issues we're dealing with, whatever frustrations we have in our job, whatever things bother us, now we have this personal rent-a-cop that can go out and do things. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that a front-end associate or someone that works the front counter might look at these security guards and go, hey, we got some guys down here being a little loud at the pool. Can you guys go get them out? Hey, we got some kids being a little bit raucous in the parking lot. Can you guys go move them along? Hey, this guy's down here threatening me about his bill. I want him kicked out. I want him trespassed. In those situations, as a private security guard, it can put pressure on you guys. It can put pressure on you to respond to things in ways that maybe you're not able to do based on your post orders, or maybe you're not able to do based on a lot of different factors. And I want you guys to understand that if you find yourself in a situation where you've been directed to do something, this is very important. If you find yourself in a situation where you've been directed to do something, whether it's by an associate or a manager, it could be someone high up in the contract process of where you're working, you are taking on the responsibilities of the legality of what it is that you're doing. I can't tell you how many times I've had a manager say, hey, get this guy the fuck out of here. Well, my getting that guy the fuck out of here still has to fall within the realm and the confines of legality. Just because an associate doesn't like the way that someone is talking to them, just because an associate has had an argument with someone, I can't just grab that person, gaffle them up, and get into a fight with them. And if I do, and God forbid things go south, that person hits their head, and when the cops show up, they're unresponsive and they die. I don't get to then look at the associate and say, well, they told me to. And if I didn't do it, I might have gotten fired. Prosecuting attorney, the family of the person that dies, they're not trying to hear that shit. And as much as I felt for this guy, this bellhop, as much as I felt bad for him, because I really did feel that what he was saying was honest. I really did feel that he felt horrible about the situation. He was in tears. He was very apologetic. He didn't seem like he had any ill intention. But guess what? Oh well, guys, the police department in Milwaukee has submitted 4 felony murder charges for all of the men who were involved in the holding down of Devontae Mitchell. Now, it's up to, I guess, the district attorney to take that information and decide if he wants to proceed. But when you've got Benjamin Crump standing outside your hotel, when you've got the Republican National Convention, I believe starting next week, maybe, if not today, it could be either Thursday or it could be today, I'm not sure. But you have all eyes. You're going to have Donald Trump there. You're going to have every high-profile Republican. There's going to be news media. You best believe Benjamin Crump is going to be making a ton of noise about this story and about this situation. What is the likelihood that they don't push for these charges to be filed and for these 4 people to be arrested? Now, if you're a private security guard, it's also very important for you to see how all of this has played out. I've told you guys time and time again, so many security guards, they want to be in a hands-on event. You guys want to do the tactical shit. You guys want to do the hands-on shit. You guys want to get into fights. You want to handcuff people. You want to. And I'm telling you, this is the outcome. The Hyatt Regency didn't say, hey, thanks, guys. You know, he was wilding out. He was really on one. He was doing too much. He was in a female bathroom. He was this, he was that. We were scared. Thanks for your service. I'm so glad you guys were there. First sign of trouble. Bye. Now, do you have, I looked it up, the average cost to defend yourself in a felony murder case is just under $300,000. Do any of you have $300,000? Because the company that they work for is not going to defend them in court. They've already terminated them. And the news story yesterday with the bellhop, this is what is so crazy. The news story said, and they said this for a reason. They said that the bellhop was terminated for workplace violence. Because since he's not a security guard, there's nothing in his, his post orders or his contract or his job description that says that he's supposed to get involved in any of that. So the fact that he was involved in a hands-on incident, they are able to terminate him for workplace violence. He was defending the hotel. In his opinion, he was defending the private security guards that work there. But the company is like, nope, you went through the HR training. You went through the onboarding process. You remember this little pamphlet that you signed that has all this fine print? It says that any actions of workplace violence are terminated, and anything that comes from that, best of luck to you. And it's going to be the exact same thing for the security guards. I don't even know, this is what's so crazy, I don't even know if those security guards are supposed to even be going hands-on. But this is the trickle-down effect of not only watching how police interact with the public, it's the trickle-down effect of watching police channels that constantly promote and advocate for hands-on type situations. This is what happens when you follow forward operators, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, and their content is about engaging the threat. When people make de-escalation and conversation and doing your absolute best to avoid these situations, when you make that type of content out to be unimportant, boring, lame, This is the result. 4 felony murder charges. Guys, y'all better wake the fuck up. No bueno. And I had someone that came on here yesterday. I had put up a screenshot of the charges being levied and that they're waiting for the district attorney to come back. I had somebody that came on my community tab and they were like, this ain't that important. I had to look it up. I ain't even heard of it. Motherfucker, you haven't heard of it. It's everywhere that I've seen it. On Good Morning America yesterday, I've seen it on at least 8 different major news sites. Every single one of them saying the same thing. Oh, the next George Floyd. Oh, the next George Floyd. The next George Floyd. Do I think that we're going to have protests in the street? Absolutely not. Do I think that this is going to get, widespread coverage? Absolutely not. But all across the area, I guarantee you that this is going to have implications for private security. It's going to have implications for training. It's going to have implications for certification. Everything in terms of the model of how security is implemented in hotels. Most of this will happen in Milwaukee, but once it happens, it's going to set precedent, and that precedent is going to be implemented across the board. Guys, there is no conceivable way that you are going to be able to excuse your actions off as someone told me to do it. I want to make sure that I drive this point home as I get closer to my work location. Okay? We do not have the ability to push our actions off on the fact that someone told us to do that. And guys, you're going to be told in your career. If you haven't, you will be. You're going to be told constantly by people who have the authority to remove you from your site, to take you off of your post if you don't do what they say. You are going to constantly have people tell you, this is what I want you to do, and I want you to do it now. And it is up to you. Guys, it is imperative that you understand what your limitations are legally, ethically, and morally. If you violate those things, you are responsible for whatever happens. So how do you navigate that? How do you navigate situations where you are the low man on the totem pole, you're the security guard, and the manager of the store is telling you, or let's just be honest, is telling you to do something that you cannot conceivably do based on your authority, based on the legality, or based on the ethical or moral standards of what they're asking you to do. You have to be able to articulate why you're not going to do something. And your best bet is to be able to make it seem as though you're doing what they're asking without doing what they're asking. And this will be something that we will talk about tomorrow. I will go through an entire stream where I will give you 3 to 5 examples of real world scenarios where I have been put in this exact situation. And I will give you 3 to 5 examples of how I think you should best handle them. It won't be exactly what you should do, but I think it's great to talk about it and go over something similar to that, because a lot of times you're put between a rock and a hard place. But I don't want you guys to find yourself in situations where you're having to answer for something legally that you should not have done because you didn't know how to say no without getting yourself in trouble, okay? So I will do that tomorrow. We'll have that stream. I'm getting ready to roll in here, start my shift. If you guys are working today, please be careful. Watch your back. Stay safe. For God's sakes, make good decisions, okay? Do your absolute best to be great today, all right? You guys be great.